Today we are going to be talking about Syria, the fall of its leader, and what the future may look like for the country. But it's also important to look at the past because Syria was actually part of what's called the Arab Spring, where several Middle Eastern countries had revolutions where the people hit the streets with the goal of trying to topple their dictators. While some dictators fell, some stayed in power, like Bashar al-Assad in Syria. He was not removed during this time. These protests started in about 2011. And it's now 2024, and he finally did flee the country. So this has been a long process in that country, and there are some major shakeups recently. But I'd like to tell you, well, what led up to that? So when he was not removed from power, unfortunately, these protests, grassroots movements are great, but when the West or other countries try to get involved, they tend to make it worse. They did topple the dictator in Libya. Unfortunately, Libya now has an open slave market. So what started off as something hopeful, with the help of the U.S. taking down the dictator, things just went insane there, and the country is now worse off. So I don't know what the future holds for Syria, but I wouldn't think it doesn't seem to be looking good given the history of other Middle Eastern countries that were part of this Arab Spring. When Assad stayed in power after the first set of protests, the U.S. ended up getting involved, and we funded a CIA program to train rebel leaders in order to take them out. On the surface, this sounds good. America allying with people fighting the government, trying to protect their people. But it turns out we have a history of arming some very dangerous people that aren't really doing the bidding of their country. They're doing the bidding for us. There are leaked emails from Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton pretty much explaining that we were arming forms of al-Qaeda in order to take out Bashar al-Assad. Al-Nusra is the Syrian version of al-Qaeda, and we had a CIA program called Timber Sycamore where we actually were training these people to take out the leader. And again, it's one thing to want to fight a dictatorship, but if you're using more dangerous people than the dictator himself to fight, things are probably not going to be great or end well. It turns out that the leader of al-Nusra, again, the Syria's version of al-Qaeda, his name is al-Julani, was recently interviewed on CNN, and he was part of the takeover of Syria just recently. And CNN is almost trying to rebrand him as, a terrorist who's changed. And, that could be possible. I don't think it is. I don't think he has had the time to change. I don't think he's apologized for the violence they've caused in the past because, again, after Assad didn't fall, Syria has been under a civil war where the moderate rebels were fighting the Syrian army. And I used to believe that the moderate rebels were on the right side doing the right thing until I learned about, the moderate rebels are actually a branch off of al-Qaeda. So during the civil war, after the CIA program was disbanded because it was currently not working, we occupied Syria, the U.S., and we were looting their oil, which Trump has plainly admitted, as well as their wheat, and causing sanctions, which we say it's supposed to upset the populace in order for them to get angry and want to take out their leader. And it does upset the populace. It doesn't affect the leaders, though. They still are able to get rich. What sanctions do is cut off Syria from the rest of the world when it comes to trade. So it's hard for them to get the commodities they need and to really just survive as a society. So not only did the West fund terrorism in order to try to take out their leader, we cut off Syria from the rest of the world, really starving them. And I used to believe that sanctions were a form of soft power, which is better than dropping bombs. And maybe in some ways it's a little less bad than dropping bombs, but in the end it's called siege warfare. Well, we are suffocating them from the rest of the world. Al-Sham, again, HTS, I'll try to pronounce it one more time. Hayat Tahrir al-Sham is the insurgency group led by al-Julani that recently took over Syria and made Bashar al-Assad flee. So what started in 2011, about 13 years ago, has almost come to an end with the Bashar al-Assad leaving. But again, we don't really know if Syria is going to be better off, and I really don't think that will be the case given who is going to be running Syria. Now, you may wonder, how does this connect to the bigger picture? As many of you know, Israel has been participating in a genocide against the Palestinians in Gaza. Really, they've been participating in ethnic cleansing for over 50 years, but this recent issue, the genocide, started on October 7th in 2023 and has been going to this day. And Israel has even expanded into Lebanon. Now, Israel and the West are very good at dropping bombs and killing a lot of innocent civilians, but on the ground, we kind of get our butts kicked. And Lebanon, via Hezbollah, their militant group, has been able to fight Israel on the ground. So Israel and Hezbollah decided to come up with a ceasefire, which immediately Israel did not follow. But this is when things kind of shifted. And while the attention was focused over in Lebanon, everything that went down in Syria happened. Now, this is unfortunate because Syria is part of the resistance, part of the countries that is standing up to the genocide. You know, my whole life I've been told that Russia, China, Iran, they're kind of scary, evil dictatorships. And again, I don't know what life is like there, but I believe that they are on the right side of history. They are the only ones trying to stop Israel's genocide. And Syria was an ally in the resistance, and so taking out Syria really does hurt the resistance. And so it's kind of a sad day that this occurred, but I still have faith that the good side will prevail. We'll just see over time. So Syria's future is up in the air. Currently, there's a terrorist organization running the country. We even had al-Julani on a terrorist most wanted list, and now we're partnering with him to take over Syria. So that's just an example of one of the many attempts that the U.S. has done to topple other countries. And we say we do it in the name of democracy, but again, we use very dangerous people to do it, and the results never seem to be what we claim they're going to be. I don't have a magic 8-ball. I can't see the future, but given the actions of Julani and his groups in the past, it doesn't seem like Syria is in good hands. I would like to keep you updated as this story develops. Thank you.